What is up, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of The Grind. I'm joined today by my host, the one and only Brody, right over here.
What's up?
You're pointing to the wrong way.
Me too.
Oh,
Point to the other way. The other way. Yeah, that
There
way.
we
That way.
go.
Technical difficulties, ladies.
And then
Actually, let me
down,
move
and
the
then
cameras
down,
around on mine,
and
and
then
then,
I'm
and
down.
then let me point down to my next
Yeah.
host. We have special co-host Neslo joining us. Wait, hold up.
I wish I could do
What?
impressions. I
Wait,
can't.
what? Ladies and gentlemen, I just heard it's not Neslo actually. It's someone even better. The one, the only, Rapid Fire 226. Go ahead, ladies and gentlemen.
Jesus. Yeah, no, it's Austin. It's not the 22600, my area code.
Uh,
Um, but yeah, basically we're a COD podcast, COD gambling
that's
podcast, the first in the business. The first in the business.
right.
That we know of. That's
No,
worth a
first.
damn. That's
Shut
worth
the
a
fuck
damn.
up. No,
That's
no,
right.
no. First in the
That's
business.
right.
Period. So we're just gonna, be degenerates and gamble on a video game, esport, and have
Be of
fun,
age, of course.
waste money, and be in a legal state too.
Legal state, legal age, all that good stuff. And even though this worst comes to worst, even if you don't gamble or anything, I'm not the most well knowledge in gambling. Love COD, and today we're
Yeah,
gonna talk about CAD.
yeah.
So, with that said, real quick, just to let you guys know a little bit background experience about everyone, just because we're not talking out our ass. Me at least, I've been playing COD since I can't even remember, like back Black Ops 2, Black Ops 1 is maybe when I started. Didn't really get into it until Ghost. Got into competitive Call of Duty and Ghost, and that's actually where I met Austin over there, which was crazy. I carried him through Clan v Clan. It was
Mhm,
amazing.
mhm,
No one's ever seen anything better. My vector was something else, truly.
mhm.
But everyone's vector in that game was insane. But yeah, that's where I've been playing since then. Love COD. Favorite team. I am an Optic fanboy, but other than that, I did used to love them in Ultra, but then they hoed Zinni. So
They
I
they
don't
they
know.
hold the boy.
No Zinni, no
No.
Winnie. You know what I'm saying? No Zinni, no Winnie. Like
But I
Winnie,
mean,
Chef
I mean, they
Cody.
are a much better team now.
Yes, I will. I will say. We'll get into that later. We'll get into that later. Let's
Much
not talk
better
too much.
team now.
But let's go ahead and
Yeah.
talk over. Yeah. Go ahead,
I'll
Brody.
I
Or
mean,
oh, Austin, go ahead.
Austin just a side character. He was already
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Roger's
You know,
story.
you know,
Like, you
That's
know what I'm
fine.
talking about?
I mentioned
But
him.
you
I
know,
mentioned him.
That's fine.
they met in Ghost. I've been playing COD since, like, seriously since BO1. I got into competitive in AW, and I met these fools. Literally changed their life. You know what I mean? Carried
Yeah,
them through
yeah,
AW.
I
Carried
sunned.
them.
That was insane.
Carried them through AW. Uh,
I will say, he was a nasty bow.
uh,
He was a nasty bow. I'll give it
I
to
thought
the
him.
he was an
I'll
best,
give
ASM.
best in the game. I did it all. I did it all.
this man
Um,
truly. But I will say, no one is better than our true father. All of our COD father, OBYN Matrix.
the
Truly
boy
insane.
Matrix.
Shout out. Shout
Hang
out.
on, everyone, we need a moment of silence quickly for Obi and Matrix.
He's not dead. We
All
just
right.
haven't heard
All
from
right.
him.
Quick moment, PSA, quick moment of silence. Shouts to the boy. Another one I want to give a shout out is to Nicholas Tubanovsky, the best to ever
That's my
sign.
boy. That was our fourth in
Uh,
AW. The
yeah.
absolute no game knowledge, but he
We've
did his
lost.
thing. He did his thing.
We've lost all of our viewers so far. They're like, who the fuck are these guys talking about? I was here for
They're
COD.
true legends. They're staples in the Call of Duty scene. If you play Call of Duty, you know these
You
people.
have to.
No,
You just
You
and
have
have to
to.
know. But anyway, moving
I
on.
started
Yeah.
my COD career BO1 on the Wii. You know how we do out here.
It's a lot.
And then BO2
Playing
on the
so much.
Xbox was next COD.
We
And then
still playing on a
Clan
Wii
V.
controller.
That's crazy.
Yo, I imagine
That's
Austin
crazy.
playing Call of Duty like, yo, what? What are you
And this is how it's gonna be. I'm just gonna get roasted every podcast. Um, I don't know if he muted his mic or if he's just peeking right now.
I'm crying. I'm crying.
Um,
All right.
but yeah, no, I had MLG in my clan. What is this kid doing?
Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
I had MLG in my clan tag, and that's how I met Roger. We started playing UMGs.
Bro, literally, I'm not gonna lie. We were the duo, bro. We were nasty. I don't care what anyone says. We were nasty. Austin was
We weren't
gross.
that good.
What? Austin's a nasty S&D player. To this day, still will say Austin still does have some S&D knowledge in it.
That's about
But
it. But
we played for like pretty hard until like BO3, And then what was BO3 IW?
After
We played like
BO3,
halfway through IW.
yeah.
I
And this
wouldn't even say I played half. I
No,
think
you
I
definitely did.
did. I
There's an
quit.
infamous clip when we were scrimming.
Oh,
There was an
yes.
infamous
Forget
clip. You were definitely playing in
Truly.
IW. But this was exactly what happened. It was me, you, and Dawson and Roger. Roger was on doing his own shit, making music, so he just completely quit COD. Didn't hear
Yeah,
from him in 2 years. Never made any songs. He just said he was doing music and
I
disappeared.
definitely did.
So we all know that was cap. This fool Austin. I don't even know what happened to Austin.
I just quit. I just hated the game. IW was a trash game in my opinion, the worst game.
Not the worst. Definitely not the worst.
Well, I didn't play
Oh,
anything after it up
we'll talk about it
until
later. We'll talk about it
Modern
later.
Warfare. I played a little bit of Modern Warfare, and then this game I played like S&D, but really didn't go hard. And throughout the years, I paid attention to all the COD tournaments up until BO3, and then just recently started watching again, so I actually know what I'm talking about, so I don't lose all my money on gambling. But my favorite team would be, since I'm from Cincinnati, it would have to be Chicago. That's my closest team. Plus, Optic fanboy with Roger. Me
So
and Roger are Optic
Yeah, New
fanboys.
York's
So
nasty though. I
I
do
would
like
see.
Asim's my boy.
Me and Austin were talking
Not what I
about
was
this.
thinking.
How cause I don't really have a favorite team per se. I don't really like any of the teams. I guess Optic because
Asim?
of.
Do you have a favorite player, Brody? Let me ask that. That's a
No,
better
no, hey,
question.
let me
Get
just
into it.
finish my thought.
Yeah, shut the fuck up,
But
bro.
since I'm closest to New York, I think I'm just gonna latch on to New York. I don't think they're a terrible team. I mean, this weekend was a little bit eyebrow raising,
That's
but
true.
I don't think
Yeah,
they're
that's
a
true.
terrible team, and I think they're a contender. For third
What I'll
place.
go ahead. Well, Brody, I'm glad you actually said that because we're gonna go ahead and actually go ahead and roll into our next topic. So we're gonna go ahead and really real quick recap the week. Just some of the matches, just what went on. Not talk too much about them, but just basically talk about them a little bit. So first off, I think on Thursday we had Atlanta versus London was the first match. 3-0. I mean, were any of us surprised by this really?
I mean, no. I had money on the match that it was gonna be a 3-0. I think it was an easy call. I think
Yeah.
mostly any team against Atlanta, sub minus Dallas and Toronto is an easy bet for a 3-0. I don't even think Optic take a map.
Um,
Wow.
I was surprised. Not that there was a 3-0, that London played. I mean, you look at the stats, they got smacked. You actually watch the game, they were close in two of those games. The
I
first two
mean,
games, I believe. They were close.
you're right.
I'm thinking maybe they do take a map. Maybe I should have bet on a 3-1 here. But
Yeah.
they
I will say for sure, I
Atlanta.
agree. I will say, I agree with Brody. I mean, 100%. Not only I think is it an easy pick to pick Atlanta to win any of their matches, but I think it's an easy pick to pick London to lose most of their matches, just because at this point in the season, they're not playing for champs. They're not playing for anything. Some of their players are chalked. Only a
Just
few of their players are focused. I will say though, they did play a little bit better. I mean, not Alex had a little bit better. I mean, he's been not to say anything bad, but he's been sucking for a while. Afro's
Stinking.
not too bad, but
Stinks.
I mean, their S&D was close. It was 6-4, I believe. I think London just gave away some huge rounds. I believe they had streaks again on the S&D and just wasted them, or didn't even do anything with them. I can't remember. I think Afro had them. Just can't believe that, but. Yeah, not really surprised by
Should have
the
had those
result of
games.
that match.
Should have had should have and could have had two of those first games off Atlanta if they really wanted to.
Yes,
If they
I
I
tried.
agree.
I don't
If
think
they
London has the discipline though. That's why I would always bet against them.
well,
They can come as
yeah,
close as they want
absolutely.
to. I just don't think they have the discipline to
I
finish it
think
out,
they're
especially
I think
against a
they're
team
close to
like
getting there.
FaZe.
I think they're close
Too
to
late.
having that.
It's
Yeah,
too late.
obviously it's
Yeah,
too late. They're not
I agree.
making champs. But like that's something to look for.
I honestly,
I think
I
they're
think
If they
50% of that team's not going to be in the pro league next year.
100%. I agree, and the thing I'm saying is that with Brody, they don't have the discipline to play Call of Duty as a team. Right now, honestly, like Brody, 50% of that team isn't making it in the COD. Honestly, I think only one maybe will make it into COD or in the league next week or next year. I mean, and what's it called? Right now, those players are playing for a league spot, trying to just play their best, trying to show out. I'm not gonna lie, I'll be surprised if some of them aren't just stat whoring or not caring at all.
And you know what the problem with the stat whoring in this game is? This game is such a team game. Like mistakes
I agree.
like cost so much in
Good
this
call.
game,
Good call.
compared to any other COD. And not many people realize this, but like you can't play
I agree.
individual in this game. You have to play as a team.
Mhm.
In this no discipline London team just doesn't get that. And like you said, they're probably playing for stats because they want a spot in the league next year. But they're just making themselves look worse by doing that.
And honestly though, I don't even know if I can say that because I honestly I feel like would have to agree with them or agree with what they're doing because I mean, dude, you want a job next year, but at the same time, you're right. They're
But
as a team, they're just chalked. As a team, they're chalked. They're chalked.
like
It's chalked.
you can tell who's going to be in the league next year and who's not
I agree.
on that
It's
team.
chalked.
think,
Go
I
ahead.
think,
Awesome.
like,
Last thing, and then let's go ahead and wrap it up, Brady.
yeah, I think the take of people are playing for their jobs next year isn't the best take in my opinion. And the reason I say that is because you don't know what the next game's going to be. You don't know how the rosters are really going to change. So I think I do. I look at them shaking their head. I
Okay.
do agree. Like you should be worrying about your next spot. But I think even if you get sent down to challengers, grind the next game. Be better at the next game.
Let me
and
let me
you'll
let
get
me
better.
let me just kill that right
You
there.
can
Hold on,
do that.
because
You can do that.
they're gonna form teams before this next game comes out, and what they're gonna use is last game's performances. They're not gonna
Right.
wait until the game to be like, oh, we should scrim with this and see how this goes. Maybe like 2 or 3 teams are gonna do that, but majority of the teams are gonna take your performance from last game and then use that for this game. So
But
I
how many
agree.
of those teams are going to stay together in time for champs, aka the playoffs?
but that doesn't
You know what I'm
matter.
saying? That's
Yeah.
what as a player, I want championships, I want rings, and that's what I care about. So as long as I secure my spot for a champs, like that's what I care about.
Friendship league.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't even really get your point. Awesome, I'm not gonna lie. After that, because like I said, I get what you're saying, but 100%, bro. These players just want that spot at the beginning of the year, because my thing is, even if they get benched,
They're
what's it
still
called? They're
making that money.
they're getting their money. They're making money, and my thing is, you're right. You're right. You can grind from challengers, 100%. But my thing is, you want a secured bag. And challengers, we've heard it from Zinni, we've heard it from pro players who have been benched and are going through challengers right now. Challengers sucks. Challengers is a grind. Challengers is a grind, especially for any average Joe player, or even returning pro. It's still a grind. So that's all we can say on that. We'll talk a little bit more here in a little bit. I kind of want to keep us back on track and keep us moving on.
Just flame London for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
sorry,
defended them. No,
sorry,
I
London.
defended them. No. I defended them. But
Yeah,
at
yeah,
the
you're
same
right. You're
time,
right.
I'm not gonna
if
defend
you're
them. They're an
if
awful
you're
team
a-
and they suck.
if you're a London fan, I'm sure you've realized this
If you're a
already.
London fan, I feel bad for you.
Brody, how long have we been recording, real quick?
I don't know.
Okay, all cool. I just started a timer, so we're straight.
It doesn't matter.
Those first couple minutes were flaming, but we're gonna go ahead and move on real quick. The next thing I want to talk about here is another match that can't say I'm surprised about, but actually I will say I'm a little bit surprised by the performance out of Paris Legion. So we have Optic Chicago versus Paris Legion. This ended in a 3-0. I think I expected this
Shouldn't
to
have.
be a 3-0 as well, but honestly, kind of closer. The S&D was close. I just feel
S&D
like
they should have won
they should
100%.
Paris should have won 100%. I agree. They chalked that. Let me see. The hard point was 250, 185. I mean, yeah, I don't know. And then the control was 3-0. I don't know. Again, I know that team. I feel like that team's chalked as well, but I feel like a lot of those players on that team had a little bit
I
more
think
passion. You
I
got
think
Donnie Temp.
I think right
He's
now in
gross.
the league, you can look at 3 teams and just be like, yeah, they're absolutely chalked. Like there's no reason for these teams to even like exist anymore. The thing with
Yeah.
Optic, I think, is that they talked all this shit and then they got smoked on LAN,
Oh,
and
true.
now they have something to prove because the Optic fan base expects wins. Like I saw something
Relentless.
that compared the Optic now to Yankees now. Like it's a franchise you expect wins from, and they're just not producing with the roster right now. And the fans are starting to get angry. They're coming for
I
the
mean,
players' necks, and these players have something to prove. I mean, they over and over again all last year was, oh, it's not land, it's not land, it's not land. We'll destroy them on land, and then you get 3-0'd by the exact person you were talking shit to. So now
I don't want to say it.
They have
yeah.
something to prove, and I think that's why you saw a 3-0 against Paris. That's why you saw a 3-0 against New York, which I was super surprised again, because they have
Yeah.
something to prove.
And I
Yeah.
will say
Well,
too.
no, real quick. Let me speak on Optics 3-0s, right? I think the Paris 3-0, the only match that they could have and should have lost was that S&D. And before I go into farther into my take, I meant to say this at the beginning, but I know the least amount of COD here. I'm more of the gambler. I know the most about gambling, and I look at Call of Duty esports as more of a regular sport. So that's where a lot of my takes come from. That's where a lot of my knowledge is going to come from. But going back into Optic, I don't even think those 3-0s are deserved. I think both those teams played really
I
bad.
agree with that. I actually, I will say, I actually don't. I don't disagree with that at all. I agree with that huge.
Like New York played
Um,
like doggy
yeah, could just
all
add,
fucking weekend.
yeah, just to add a
I
little bit on top of what both of you guys saying, just so we can move on to the next one a little bit. I agree. Optic, yeah, this roster was specifically built to get championships. I mean, that move for Dashy to acquire him because Dashy been wanting to play with Optic for so long, and them wanting to play with him. You know, this roster was formed for championships, and a lot of went through to make this roster. So, like I said, I think especially like you said, Brody, after the land thing happened and they just got absolutely yoinked. They got a lot to prove, and I agree though to Austin's point. I still think they still have yet to prove. I don't think this week. I think this week is good for the major and for seeding wise, but I don't think it's a good representation of what Optic is yet. Because yes, they were nasty, and I think it can see it's what they are yet. Like you said, Op Paris should have won that S&D. New York just hasn't been looking like New York. We'll talk about that a little bit later on within the next two matches, but yeah, I agree. Another thing Brody said is that yeah, there's three teams that we can disagree or just complete chalk. I think I would say four teams. Um, and the next matches actually includes one of those teams, and that's Minnesota versus LAG, LA Gorillas.
Oh, this match pissed me the
So
fuck off.
yeah, so we got.
This
Okay, so first,
let me can I
go
just
ahead. You
start?
actually take the because we got a lot of stuff to say.
I have strong opinions about this Minnesota game. Um
You had a money
so
line on LAG, right?
no. I think maybe. I
I
forget.
think you
I had
did,
LA
and
losing.
you sent me your picks, and I'm like, why are you taking
So
LAG?
let
Oh, you
me
took LA.
I took
Go on,
LAG, and because listen, like I said, I don't
man.
know much. I don't know too much. You know,
Had me.
I'm the only one that watched the
I
games.
warned them.
Um, but this game pissed me off because I see mental coming in, right?
That's
And
what I
I'm
want to talk about that in a bit. Yeah.
and I'm like, okay, maybe this is a correct move. But the most important thing I saw here is the role change between who was it, Attach and uh, was it the Preston guy,
Priesta. Preston is his name.
Priesta?
Preston's his real name.
But
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so like they decided this like a couple days before, or like a week before the match was going to be played, and I was like,
Mm.
I feel like that's going to fall right on his face. Let me take LG with the role change. I'm assuming they feel comfortable with the role change, but I watched the game and nope, no role change, so that already fucked me once. And then mental, I mean, obviously played bad, but the whole team just played like dog shit.
My
They didn't
thing
get a single
is,
trade.
yeah,
They
my
did.
thing is this game, I think everyone expected. Well, actually, I will say the first match, what happened was kind of insane. I don't think anyone expected LAG to win that. Over Minnesota Rocker, it was a 250 to 197. I will say though, everyone I think is chalked LAG since they made that switch from Money Chin over to Mental. Everyone knew that play was absolutely fugazi.
Chin was the only good player on that
Yeah,
team.
that was the dumbest thing I think anyone's ever done in
Chin
Call of Duty
Chin
history.
historically just gets
Chin,
fucked over every year. I
yeah,
just don't understand it. Like,
literally went to his challenger, LAG challenger team, and shitted on him, the pro team. Everyone knew this team was chalked. Another thing to add real quick to that point, though, Austin, I do agree that role switch from Minnesota was quite strange, but I
They
kind of
didn't
like
even
it.
they didn't
I
even
like
roll
it.
change though. They didn't even roll change. They
Yeah,
announced it and then
yeah.
didn't do it. So
That's what I was gonna say.
that's why it
I
fucked
well, it
me.
kind of
obviously
like it.
didn't
Though.
work
I
then.
feel like I kind of like it though, and I feel like they should put more time into it because I did hear Preston did play better with an AR over the sub, but I feel like attach. I think Attach can be. I think Attach is a good AR. I think or can be a good AR because he's a naturally slow player. Just watch the way he plays. Um, but let's not talk about this too much. Let's keep moving forward real quick. The only thing I was surprised about this match is just LAG won that first map, and I was like, what the hell? Other than that, a
They haven't
6-3
won a hard point
S&D.
since May, I think the announcers were saying.
Is that what they said? Oh, chalk. Man, I mean, LAG just awful. I mean, they didn't S&D 6-3, S&D's S&D, you know,
I
whatever.
mean, it's like
Control.
we're at a point where it's just like I don't even care about these matches because the teams don't.
Yeah,
Just like
yeah.
these three teams, like watching these three teams. And you know what's crazy? I would have put Seattle in that category and said they're chalk too. But Seattle looks so much better on LAN, so much better.
Well,
I
here's the
think they were a
thing I'll
totally
say.
different team on LAN. And if these like these were being played on LAN, I think I would be taking Seattle on a couple of these matches.
Why aren't these being played on land? I really
I
don't know.
disagree with that take, Brody. I'm sorry. I
Seattle's a
have to
much better
disagree with
team
that
on LAN.
take. I will say that. I will say yes, maybe so, but I believe a lot of that is just mental block. A mental block. I can't. I'm sorry. I refuse to believe that if we restarted this year over and those majors were on land still, I still believe we'd have a league similar to looking like what it is. Just because,
I
maybe
think
not, maybe a few differences, maybe a few differences for sure, just because of some certain players' living situation. But I can't agree with that. I mean, bro. Seattle's been playing like shit all year.
Yeah, but
They're
you have a
trying to make
team
a
in
change.
Seattle full of veterans that have so much land experience, and then they get their chance to prove it on land, and they look like a totally different team. A
My
totally
thing is
different
though,
team.
I agree. The land experience is one thing, but my thing is the fundamentals of the game are not switching from LAN to or online to LAN. My thing is the thing that mattered from all those veterans was not their LAN experience as much as their COD experience. They know so much about COD, but they couldn't get it working together. We're looking at what we'll say Atlanta Faze. Let's think about that team. They don't have much LAN experience compared to some of those veterans on that on Seattle team, but yet they are shitting on everyone and they're the number one team online and on LAN. It's because they're a good team. They play together.
I
They
think
make it
fundamentals
work.
has a lot to do. I'm not saying that fundamentals don't. I don't
Yeah,
think Seattle would be a great team. I don't think they're
yeah.
reaching the top, but I'm saying Seattle's a different team on land than they are online. And I would not group them in with teams like Paris and LAG if it was on land. Because
If
they're a totally different team. Totally
well,
different team.
okay.
You have veteran.
Skill wise,
You
right
even
now.
you said it. It's just a
Mm,
mindset. It must
yeah,
be that they're more comfortable playing on land because that's what they're used to and not playing online. It's
I
just a
get you.
mind thing that they're going over, but it's still there. And if they're playing on land, they're playing better than they are online, and
Mm,
they've
And
proven that
again,
what-
why isn't this being played on land? Can one of you answer that?
because
what's it
they're
called?
incompetent.
These are these are league matches. They
They
can't just
should they
have the
should
league
be.
matches.
They
Well,
Well,
they're
that's how it
well,
was.
it's
That's
quote
how it's.
unquote
the
it's
league
quote
matches
unquote
weren't ever like that.
Yes, it was.
well they should be quote
Well,
unquote
my thing
New
is,
York's
they,
homestand. Hold on. They're saying it's New York's homestand,
yeah,
meaning
they're
all
home
the
week.
teams should be in New York
That's how
fucking
it originally
playing.
was.
That's how originally was going to be planned. But my thing is, there and several people have talked about this. The leagues talked about this several, or players talked about it several times. It's just impractical to have so many league matches every week. That many league matches to have players travel constantly every week to do those matches. Then when does it doesn't give the players any time to have a break or even chill. I mean, a lot of players have already
Sports teams
complained
do
this
it.
year. Bro, my God, that's another thing I'm saying. This is not sports. This is not traditional sports. My thing is Call of Duty is not football. Call of Duty is not basketball. Call of
So
Duty has already been established to work a certain way, and the
It's
way
not
it's
working the way.
the
It's just
no the way
but
my
Roger,
thing is right now
Roger,
I agree the format is a little
Roger,
but I think
why can't they fly out to each place each week?
I just said that the
they
play
wouldn't
it's
have
too much for
time
the
to
players
practice.
and they
But
wouldn't have
okay, but
anything to do.
all right, here's a solution.
Yeah,
You pick a state, you have the stadium set, and then the teams just go to that set stadium. So there's no traveling. You have the players move to whatever. Just use the Dallas Expo or whatever it's called in Dallas, and you
I see
play
that,
there,
but then
and then you
that
have all the matches on land.
I get you, Brody. Let me realize that situation though. Then this is the biggest situation why the majors are honestly why the majors are held on land because they're for a bigger point wise and prize pool. And the reason the online matches aren't is because let me raise you this. You as a player, Brody, play every day at your house. I mean, whatever. You have time for your life and this and that. but every week now, or now because you're a pro player or whatever, you're forced to relocate your whole life down to one place for half a year or half the season just to play some matches and then go back.
It's my
That's
job.
Like,
It's my
that's
job.
my
I'm getting paid to
my
do
why
it.
thing is
If I
that's
don't want to work the job, then
is
I'm not going to travel. That's simple
why
as
is
that.
I'm sorry, that's a fugazi take though
That
because
is
my
not
thing is
fugazi. How is that
COD
fugazi?
has not been like that though ever.
It's
My
your
thing is COD
let me answer this. Are they getting paid a salary?
yes,
Okay, and in that contract, the team says you play for us and we're going to pay you a certain amount of money. Okay?
yes.
And for to play for us, you have to travel here. Here's your choice. We'll pay you this much. You come here for half the year, you play for us, and you get this money. This is your job. You sign the contract. What is the issue with that? If they don't want to travel, if they don't want to be a pro, then somebody else will get the position.
and
You think
one more
sports
thing.
players are like, oh, you know what? I don't want to travel around the country half a year. I don't want to play. How is it a fugazi take to be like, hey, we're gonna hold our events here in Dallas. You're gonna have to move here if you want to be a pro player. If not,
Let
we'll
me
find
add
the
to
next
that.
best person.
Let me add to that real quick. So Roger says, "Oh, that's never how COD's been." Guess what? COD's never been. You have to buy $25 million team to get into a COD champs or get into any major. This shit's changing. It's becoming more corporate. So why can't it become more like this? Is what they're gearing towards. Is a more sports franchise type thing. So you have to think. You have to look at these sports teams. Like I don't expect everybody to move to Dallas for 6 months. Whatever. I don't think it's an outrageous take, but why? So what? They get few hours less practice during the week by just flying in Thursday morning. The games are played at night. You play them at night, Thursday through Saturday or Thursday through Sunday, and you leave Sunday night. You're losing just a
Just
minimal
I
amount of
don't think you
practice.
guys understand how much of a toll that actually is on a person and a player. My thing is, us people, we can talk about it easy because obviously we're not the ones doing it. But imagine as a professional Call of Duty player, yes, it's a dream, yes, it's a privilege to play this, but at the same time, you're still human. You still gotta do what you got daily stuff. You still gotta want to be with your family. You can't just instantly go up.
But
You're acting like
sports
you're
players
acting like
do it.
traveling.
This is
You're
their
acting like
job.
Every sports
but
player
my
does
thing is,
it.
but my thing is again, as a this Call of Duty players are not sports players. They
They're
Call of Duty
east.
players are esports players. My thing is, and it doesn't matter what kind of. I'm trying to think of another esport right now that does it
Like
like that.
like it or
'Cause
not, that's what it's gonna be. I guarantee you that they say home stand, meaning they will
my thing
have
is,
some sort of advantage, meaning it's gonna be in New York. That's what last weekend should
and
have been.
yeah, and that's
They
what
should
it,
have.
I
that's
think
what
that's
They're
the
last year
best
gonna
was
have.
practice.
supposed to be.
They're
Because
gonna
my
have
thing is, that's what
arenas
last
too.
year.
Aren't they
That's what
building
last year was
arenas?
supposed. No, but
I
that's
thought
what
they were
last
getting
year.
like arenas.
They have already I think they just rent out arenas. I don't think they build their own arenas.
Like,
But
is it
I
not? Is
think they're
correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't Overwatch do this?
I think Overwatch is one city. I don't know if it's
Overwatch is dead.
travel.
They're getting
Overwatch
more.
is not
They're
is
getting
a
more viewers
professional
than
what the
COD.
esports used to be.
Everybody gets more viewers
One
than COD.
thing, yeah,
Yeah, so you can't
for real.
say
Love League
Overwatch
of
is
Legends,
dead.
by the way. Shout out to League of Legends. Fuck you for banning me till
You got
20th. But
banned.
I love
That's
League of
funny
Legends.
as fuck.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Either way, this is an interesting conversation. I would love to let's talk about this more, but we've already spent too much time on
This
this
is more
single
of an
topic.
off-season
We're
conversation.
gonna move a little bit further in to the rest of the matches, but again, overall, I think Seattle is chalk just because they're fucking years chalk. Anyway, the next match, real quick, is New LA Thieves versus New York. 3-2 LA Thieves wins over New York. Again, the way Austin said it earlier, New York just has not been playing the way they used to play. I don't
Do
know
you think it's the
what's
weekend
going
off
on. It's
without
definitely
Asim?
yeah, 100%, 100%. I think that is it. And my thing is, I don't know if they also try to adjust something because I heard I was from the flank. I mean, Asim came on and talked on the flank as well about how everyone on the player, especially 'cause that weekend, that major really showed it. Asim does a lot of the dirty work. He does a lot of the hard point hills. He does a lot of the ground work, and I believe New York obviously needs to change that. And I think they're trying to, but I think whatever they're doing right now is just isn't working, and they're still trying to figure it out. And I think that's what's going on. The biggest mistake with New York right now, because I'm not gonna lie, New York definitely just dropped some of their fundamentals in some of their matches with even in LA Thieves and in Optic. We'll talk about the Optic one later. But 100%,
I
bro. They're that week off with the seam just really showed them a lot of their flaws, and I think now that they're trying to fix it, it might be a little too late. It
I
might be a little
think
too late.
you can't really. You're a top tier team. I think New York is one of the top tier team. And as a new, like, if I was a New York fan, which Brody might be able to attest to this more because he said his favorite team is New York. Like, you're a top tier team. That shouldn't
Two bros.
fucking matter. That shouldn't matter that you have that week off. You're an elite team. You need it. You like you
Well,
shouldn't be getting
that's the
you shouldn't
problem.
be getting losing to LA Thieves with a new player on the
I
roster.
agree and I disagree at the same time. I think a weekend off with arguably, I think Asim is the difference maker. This team, a lot of the matches, because if you look when they were playing with Decimate versus Asim, um, and they play teams like Florida, they lose every time they don't have Asim on. And then when they do have Asim, it's a different story and they're winning. I think Asim is a underrated difference maker on New York. Um,
Incredibly.
like super underrated. And I think a weekend without him, it kind of throws off where everybody's going, how everybody's playing. Everybody's thrown off a little bit, but I don't think they should be getting, beat by teams like 100 Thieves or even Optic for that
Not
matter.
3-0'd against
Yeah,
Optic at least.
yeah,
For
no.
sure not.
I think like a couple maps for you to adjust, like 2 maps, like hey, okay, now we're back into the groove. Like this is what we do. No, they just played completely awful. It's just
Yes,
completely.
I agree. This week was it was super chalk for them. I couldn't believe what I was seeing because this is definitely, like you said, not the New York we're seeing. But like I said, I think they're really were just trying to fix some of their problems, and just to attest to that thing. Yes, they are pro players, but like Brody said, that week is the week off wasn't so much of the problem as much as I believe it was them trying to fix their problem they figured out during that week Asim was off. Because like Brody was saying, Asim is such a gap filler, such a do-it-all player. Really is that you don't realize, you don't see the things he does on stats, on the numbers. You see it in the game. So, like I said, because they saw, or the players figured out what Asim did in the game because they didn't have him. In these matches and what they're doing right now, I believe is trying to fix those things, and that's what the costing is. That's what I'm believing is. That's what
So
I'm saying is. I think it's too late to fix those things right now. That they have to try to fix it slowly, but they can't just try to rush the fix.
let me just
Be-
attest to Asim real quick that
He's nasty.
back
That's
in Modern Warfare, I didn't really watch it. I just kind of looked at stats, and I'm
my
like,
favorite player.
there is no way this guy makes it to the Pro League next year. And then I started watching, and I'm like, okay, I understand why his stats are
Mm.
like the way because he's literally doing everything.
The do it all, bro. I'm telling you,
He,
I was a fan back before when I was watching. I was seeing back when I was Faze during champs. I didn't even know who this fool was. I was just like, he's kind of nasty, or not nasty, but just like he's helping Faze. And then they got reverse swept by LA Thieves. But then last year, bro, the best series I've ever watched. It was the Last Land. Brody, I don't know if you were watching. Also, I don't know if you were watching, but Minnesota Rocker versus Dallas Empire, map 4, the Hackney Yard, the last hill, bro. Asim went off. That was the most amazing thing ever. The most amazing reaction out of Asim, and it still blows my mind that he doesn't have a chip yet. So we're gonna move on to the next one real quick. But
Can
shouts
we
to
move on to
Asim. He
LA
needs a
Thieves?
chip. Oh yeah, we're gonna move on to LA Thieves real quick.
Because
So
I
yeah,
have a take.
so
So
real quick, LA Thieves
John
just added
John's
in
coming
John.
in.
We he John was added in instead of Hugh. The whole situation with Hugh's going on. We're still waiting for Crim Six's video. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, we have John in. What do you think about this, Austin?
John played great. I do think I expected the team to look a little worse than they did, and they played well. I mean,
I
you're beating New York when you should have lost. I do think though, I did watch this New York game. It was Kenny. Kenny going off like it was. Kenny had a nutty weekend in my opinion, and I think that kind of saved John from some roast because I did watch John. I did see some of like his plays. And I'm like, okay, it does look like they need some more teamwork around him. They need some more
I mean, man,
chemistry.
that just comes with any new team. But I think John's a veteran, like an experienced veteran, a world champ. He doesn't necessarily bring the best gun skill or whatever now to the game. I think he's one of the best players ever. I mean, the guy's nutty in any game. But I think he also brings the IGL that the team needed. Because I mean, how many roster changes has 100 Thieves gone through? I mean, who's in charge of that team? Like, what's going
Honestly,
on?
yeah. I
Like,
honestly believe, yeah, that you're right, Brody. Because I will say, I will say it's John and Slasher combination again. From Black Ops, we saw in Black Ops 3, we saw in IW. They just together were nasty. I mean, both those that NV team, gross. And so I think it's more of the IGL from Slasher but John being there, I believe, gives Slasher more confidence in his IGL. So that's how I think John's helping with the IGL.
'Cause I don't.
Just giving Slasher more confidence.
That team was just like you mean it was a revolving door of
It was
players.
crazy, crazy.
Like it was a complete mess. Nobody like took control of the team. I think now you have such a veteran with John here. Maybe he's the in-game leader, or maybe he's giving Slasher like the confidence, like the A-OK, like yo, Slasher's gonna make our calls. You guys gotta listen to this. And these players are just like okay, like Slasher's the guy now.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, I'm glad.
I think maybe that John didn't do the best in-game stat-wise, but I think he brings more to the
'Cause,
table than
I
you
mean,
can
it
see on the
is.
surface.
Let's see here, because map one, it was 250, 149. John had a 1.39 KD. He was 25 and 18. Like Austin was saying, him and Kenny went off map one. It was truly amazing. And second map was an SND 6-3. Honestly, LA Thieves winning this. I don't know how Subliners don't win this. To be honest, even with that week off um of SN or week off of with a team or whatever. S&D is just such a team game that you just have those fundamental strats that LA Thieves I feel like should still have stuff to work on with such a new player that I'm not saying that they're bad at S&D, just New York should have won that. So that's insane.
I agree.
Then New York 3-0s, LA Thieves, Control. That's what we're used to seeing out of New York. Honestly, like I said, I expected more of New York out of this, but then New York
I
barely
also
wins the
had real
Garrison.
quick.
Oh,
I
go ahead. I'm
had
sorry.
I had New York winning this 3-1.
I think New York would have been the safe bet.
100%, 100%. I agree. I agree. I think I picked them as well. I can't remember, but yes. The map four was 250, 224. New York barely wins, and then I will say New York almost did bring it back. LA Thieves, and this is why I'm saying LA Thieves had a good or just had a good performance against an off New York, because New York, like I said, brought it back. 3-0 control. They played the close hard point, but the S&D was 6-5. I mean, they only won by 1 round. So like I said, I feel like New York just had an off week, and LA Thieves just played an off New York. So I still don't think that's a good match to judge either of those two on
I want to
yet.
see
But
more from New
Moving
York
yeah,
uh, and LA as well. I think
yeah,
both teams. It's gonna be a different story next week.
for sure. I'm excited. I'm excited for
moving
sure. This is
away
a
from
big week.
last week, and more into like, I don't really have any news on the week, but I do have like maybe some player drama we want to talk about that I kind of have a take I would like to share. So
I'm down for that, but we still have 6 other matches.
no,
What is
we're
the
not going
take
to
on
go
one of
over
these players?
all of them. I don't think we need to go over all of them. I don't think each week we're going to go over all of them. We're just going to go over the ones we had bets on. But if there was any you
Oh,
wanted to talk about, go for it.
I think you hit most of the
oh,
surprising ones.
Yeah,
true,
I think
true. I
you hit all
will
my
say
bets as well.
the only other ones I would want to talk about, just to quickly finish wrapping it up, would be obviously Atlanta 3-0 Paris wasn't surprising. Florida 3-1 Seattle. Seattle's chalked, I'm telling you. Dallas 3-0 to LAG. LAG's chalked. LA Thieves 3-1 London. That's easy. I mean, London's chalked as well. Toronto 3-1 Minnesota. I expected more of a match from Minnesota, but I mean, I knew Toronto was winning. And then the only other one I want to talk about is just Chicago versus New York again. New York was just so off. New York could have won some of the S&D, I believe, or
They
I'm
just
sorry, the
played like they
Control and
didn't
the
like they
S&D.
weren't an elite team. They played like they were a
Mm-hmm.
challenger team all the whole
What's called?
weekend.
Yes. They what's it called? They in the raid you just saw, especially I think the last round of the third round, I believe it was a lot of just solo pushing. Like Brody said, this is such a team game. New York, I believe, is one of the best teams at playing a team game, and my God, they were just my golly, my God, they were just pushing one by one
I
by one
think
by one. I say this all the time when I'm in league play. My God, don't push. Just slow it down. And it's insane how some of
like
these pro players don't get that.
this New York team was playing like Austin out there. It was just.
It's really insane. Like
Honestly,
you said, you took the words out of my mouth.
I agree.
Took the words out of my mouth. But that's just a little bit to wrap up last week, ladies and gentlemen. Um,
So
yeah, I don't know. It was insane. It was insane. We will go ahead and talk about real quick. Austin said he had some news to mention. So what's the hot drama? What's the hot take you got right now?
so it's not necessarily. I mean, it might be a hot take.
I'm
All
ready
right.
for this.
So the drama between Scump and Krim. I don't know if you guys heard. It's
Ah,
Krim
Which
said Krim said in their prime that Aches was better
Oh,
than
we're talking about
Scump.
this again?
Again,
No,
we didn't
me
even talk
me
about
and
it.
Roger talked about this
Uh,
off.
okay, I wasn't there.
Oh,
I just got off work. But
whoa,
hold on.
100%. That was crazy,
Let
bro.
me give
That
you
was
my take.
insane.
Let me give you my take. I don't care about that. I'm not. I'm no. Listen.
I want to
Yeah,
bring this
I
up. I
listen.
want to bring this
I
up.
don't
I just don't care.
This man. No. My take is I hate that people on Twitter and people on podcasts like The Flank are saying these guys just need to make up, man. These guys just need to go out to the bar, get drunk, make up. Fuck that. I want the drama. I want the storyline. I want the rivalry. Like that's what's going to grow the game. If everyone's fucking friends in the league and kissing each other's asses the whole time, this is going to get boring. I want Crim to fucking come out for blood next time they play. I want them to talk their shit. That's what's going to grow the game.
I
And Roger's muted.
I want some fist thrown on land.
Literally,
That's
I
what
want
I want.
fucking Nate
I
Shot
want
versus Aches.
I want gears, bro. I want these fools like swinging across the tables and shit. You know what I mean? Like blood and sweat, bro. Like it's been so boring not having storylines to look forward to, and not like these Fugazi storylines where it's like. Uh, I don't want these Fugazi.
Heard you.
I don't want these. Don't worry about him.
I'm telling you, you disconnect.
Yeah, we can hear you. You can hear you.
Shut up, bro. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, these are two of the best hosts I've ever had in my life, my entire podcast career. Kept it going. I'm sorry, that was an amazing, amazing. Keep that in.
It was like a breath of fresh air without him
No,
talking for
but
5 seconds.
how are we expecting to get more than 40 fucking thousand viewers every match if there's not going to be those storylines? I look at rivalries at like in college football. That's my favorite sport to watch. You got the Ohio State, Michigan, you got the Alabama, Auburn, the Mississippi State and Ole Miss. Like you got those rivalries that people who aren't fans of those teams are going to watch because it's a heated rivalry and there's a storyline there. Guess what? If everyone's friends, sucking each other off in the bathroom, no one's gonna fucking watch, and that's why you have 40,000 viewers, 35,000 viewers a match because there's nothing,
I'm,
there's no storyline.
I mean, I agree. I agree. My thing is, there's just no. My thing is the worst thing. The worst type of rivalries are forced rivalries, and my thing
I
is,
don't think this is
100%
That's
forced.
not a
like,
forced one. This is not a forced
100%. That's
one.
what I'm saying is like, uh, with Crim and the Crim and Scum situation, that's just Crim going rogue and being Crim. I mean, Crim is just like that right now. I
I'm the only
believe.
dude keeping the COD scene alive. He's the
You
only
are.
dude that starts rivalries. I mean, I don't
Undisputed.
really like the guy, but like at least he's like talking his shit and doing his thing.
Back in
Yeah.
the day, Optic Envy was always a forced rivalry because, Hex is always El Clasico, El Clasico.
Well, that wasn't really
Nah, bro.
forced
It was
rivalry.
it
That was
was
actually
EG
that
and
was
Optic or Complexity and Optic. And
that's well no, it's because the reason the envy thing was because of Opt or Hex and Hashro.
I
It
know.
wasn't. It was
I'm saying
because
that's
that's what
that's an example of a forced one.
that
But
wasn't
what I'm
forced
saying is,
because
okay, bro. It's just
no, because
um.
this is what I'm saying to carry it on is just like those are things that are just naturally built. That's come off. Crim's doing stuff is just that's what Crim does. I mean, I will agree. Crim's banter and stuff is entertaining as shit. Everyone loves that, but I to just defend the flank and stuff. What I'm saying is I believe the reason they're saying that is just because the history you have of just with between Crim and Scump and all that is just so big right there. That I think there is no real reason to just be beefing like that
Fuck
anymore in their
that.
eyes. And I'm thinking the thing is we all of course don't know the whole story. No one does
Yeah,
other than those
Fuck
two guys.
that. I want WWE storylines, dude. I want
Honestly, I think we
tag
just need
teams
Doug Spencer.
turning on each
okay.
other.
WWE, we need Doug Spencer Martin.
I don't
The
I
best
don't
ever
want
to it.
like the over the top like the UFC is now. Like everyone's talking shit to everyone. Everyone's trying to be like Conor McGregor back in the day, doing their thing. But like give me two teams that really fucking hate each other. Create that rival. We're still in the early days of COD esports. You got to think of it. If we're expecting this to become like a mainstream like sport like baseball is, you're in the early days. These are where the rivalries start and, Dallas and Chicago might end up being one of those rivalries that like just last 10s, 20, 30 years, if that's
As
how long this esports going to last. But
For
who knows?
sure. I like that. I mean, definitely that rivalry has been there. I feel like that rivalry would have been there just because, again, the Hashro and Hex situation. There's that rivalry because of the Nade Shot Optic situation. There's that rivalry that developed on Twitter because of Hashro and Nade Shot. there are those natural things that appear.
I
So
don't even
I
think
agree
the
with you.
Optic versus LA is really a rivalry though. I think
It's
it's
not
just
a
people
rivalry as
on
much as
Twitter
it's just
making it a
just
rivalry.
hyping it up as much. But
Yeah.
my thing is, I think those things are just again things to look forward to. Not many players in the scene right now just have beef with each other, and I think that's the thing is just like there's not much really for them to beef about other than just like in-game stuff or every now and then when some funny gay stuff happens and when they'll talk smack to each other. But there, I agree. We do. Rivalries I feel like do keep sports and keep everything more entertaining and more like, especially because naturally everyone's gonna take a side. Everyone's gonna be like, yo, I'm this side, I'm this side. So it just gives more force. And I will say the Crim thing was out of nowhere. I don't know what kind of take that was. I don't agree with that take. Um, I think Prime Scump was better than Prime Aches. Sorry about that, but
Primates won
um,
more rings, right? Or did they win the same amount?
Take
Prime Aches won one ring, I think.
does have one.
So what? But what are we saying?
But that's
Scump's
not. But
prime
I
was.
don't think rings just
Oh,
makes
well, I
the
guess
best
Scump Prime
player.
didn't
'Cause,
win a ring because I don't think Scump was in his prime in IW at all.
Scump was in his prime probably because
BO2.
they talked.
Go
The,
to
the
like
argument was
AW.
AW Scump. The the argument was AW Scump versus I think BO2 or Ghost Aches. I forgot either
Oh,
one.
I'm taking Ghost Aches.
Oh,
And
shots.
that's insane. And that's my thing is like
Ghost Aches won a. Did who won the? Oh, was it Envy that year that won the? Who won the?
Ghost?
Who won Ghost?
Ghost
Yeah.
Ghost EG. But
Oh, so he
my
did
thing
win a
is
ring.
it wasn't those players like player for player. Scump is just the all around better player. I think Krim was talking a lot of Bugay saying that Scump like didn't know about COD, didn't know about X Crosser thing.
Yeah,
Scumps may
that
not be
take
like
is wrong, obviously.
yeah, Scump is a good player. Like Scump knows COD, bro. Like
Kyud.
my thing is he's just yeah, he just naturally like he plays one way and I think that's the thing is that they're or Scump and Aches play two different roles. And Scump just exceeded that role his role so much more than I feel like Aches did in his. Um but I don't know. Let's not talk about that too
Right.
much.
Yeah,
Let's
I'm
just
not
move
here
it
to
on.
go into that, but I
Um
want to go into our picks now.
yeah,
Because
so next
we're
week
kind of towards the
matches
end.
yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and run through these matches real quick next week, give our little takes, and then see what kind of
So
picks we have.
I'll
Um, yeah,
as the
some
gambler of the group, as the
so
degen of the group,
let
I'll
us
go
know
with
how
my.
the rules work and stuff. You just
Oh,
break
oh,
it
you
down
mean
for us.
so like
Because we're gonna
quick
run through
breakdown.
the matches down, and then we'll just whenever our matches are matches, or our picks are our picks, we'll just let them know.
quick breakdown of like how just like gambling works in general, at least for the site we're on, which no free ad, but it's Bet US. Um, you have the spread, which a spread is basically like a team's not going to lose by um this many maps or a team's going to win by this many maps. Either way. And then you have money line, which basically is just a team's going to win overall. You can also choose teams to 3-0. And then the last one I can think of is like the over under, which is like there's going to be 4.5 maps played this game, meaning if
Either
5 maps are played, meaning they go to a final map, then you lose your money. But if 4 rounds or 4 maps are played, you win money. If this line's set at 4.5.
been
Go ahead.
drinking hand sanitizer.
What the fuck was that?
I'm just doing a bunch.
They just drink hand sanitizer.
But
Yeah, I'm just doing
my
a bunch of funny shit.
my picks. I don't even
What's it
think we need
called?
to go over
Oh,
every game
Yeah, I
well,
know.
no,
I
necessarily.
think we should just go over the picks.
I'm down to just go over the picks. I mean, we've been talking for forever. People aren't even this far in the pod probably. And I'll go with mine first. So I'm not gonna say how much I've spent. I'll just say unit for each because that's what I did do is the same amount for each. Um, but I have Florida minus 2.5 versus the Mutineers, meaning they're gonna win by um 2. Or they're not. Or I guess they're gonna. Yeah, they're gonna win by 3-0. They're gonna 3-0. Sorry, I said that wrong. Um, I got New York minus 1.5 versus the Ravens, meaning they're gonna win by a map or more. Or I'm sorry, 2 maps or more. I keep saying it backwards. I got Rocker versus Dallas. Dallas minus 1.5. Again by winning by 2 maps. And then LA Thieves plus 2.5 versus Atlanta Faze, meaning they're not going to get 3-0'd, meaning they're going to take one map. And then my final bet, LAG versus Toronto is going to be an under 3.5, meaning LAG is getting 3-0'd.
Right. Well, I took LA Gorillas versus Florida Mutineers. Took Florida with a money line. Honestly, this week is not gonna be a big week. I put a unit on everything. Um, I feel like these picks are really cut and dry this week. I don't see any like underdogs that I necessarily take. Now I did take Atlanta Faze on the minus 2.5 spread against LA. I do think Atlanta Faze has the ability to 3-0 LA.
So we went to head there, is what you're saying.
I think this is my one underdog pick. I think FaZe has a skill to 3-0 LA Thieves. I think we're putting too much confidence in LA Thieves versus a bad New York. I think Atlanta FaZe is just a totally different league to New York, and I think Atlanta can definitely 3-0 LA. And so I think that's a really good underdog pick this week if you're looking to make a little bit of money. But the rest of them, I have Seattle Surge versus Minnesota. I have the under on that, so it's not a big money maker there. London Royal Ravens versus New York. I also have the under on that one. Again, I think these are self-explanatory. Ravens are awful. Surge is not a good team online. These are just pretty cut and dry. And then I also took money line on Atlanta Faze versus Chicago. Don't think Chicago has the gas in their tank to beat Atlanta Faze. I think we're putting too much confidence into Chicago for again beating a subpar New York that we really haven't seen. I think that's a one-off, and I think New York comes play next time. But those are my picks. Like I said, the only underdog I'm really taking is the Atlanta FaZe spread versus LA. I think they could 3-0 play.
I feel that. I feel that.
Roger, what you got?
I would say I just basically to run mine down. I got here. Oh, there you go. I got first Toronto taking the easy picks. They're winning 3-0. Those teams are chalked. LAG chalk, Seattle's chalked. I'm telling you, they're chalked.
That's what I'm saying. Like I feel like these matches are so cut and dry this week.
That's chalk. Florida, I will say, maybe goes game 4 with LAG. I'm thinking if LAG wins anything, it's gonna be the search, just because search can be search. But I don't want to just say flat 3-0. But yeah, that team's chucked. I would actually say my underdog. If I were to say any underdog, of course LA Thieves beating Atlanta FaZe probably won't happen. But another one a match I actually want to put attention to is Minnesota versus Dallas. I think a lot of people probably think Dallas in this one, but I'm saying fuck that. I think Minnesota's gonna win that bitch. It's not one of my picks, but I think Minnesota honestly
This
is.
man says I think Minnesota's
I
gonna win.
think it is, but
That's not
I'm
one of
not
my
willing
picks.
to pick it.
No, I have my picks here, but I just wanted to put attention because Brody did say the underdog for an underdog pick. Another underdog. Actually, fuck it. I'll take the pick. Minnesota's winning against Dallas right now. You hear it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
Listen. Let me just. If anybody's watching this, do not take advice from this guy. That was that is the worst pick. Okay, the worst pick
Don't
you could
listen to
make.
me either. Fade my picks, honestly.
That's
Fade
a
my picks, you'll win.
fugazi pick. Okay, I just want to point this out. Last week we just did like a test run and we all made our picks. I went 5-0. Miss Full Austin went what 1-4, 1-5,
2-5,
2-5,
2-5. Yeah,
2-5. I don't know what Roger did, but
he
wasn't.
went 5-0 or 4-0 because he chose Atlanta to win both. And
Oh yeah, he
Optic to
took
win
the
both or
easy
something.
matches. I took some money moves last week and I went 5-0. Now I'm not saying my picks are perfect, but I think I have a pretty good set picks. But that Minnesota over Dallas, that's crazy. That's literally crazy.
Nah, bro.
Final thing.
Telling you, Crim's not gonna be able to hit the shots. It's back online.
Maybe if we convince
Wait,
Dallas to play with their feet, we can pick that.
Nah, bro. Watch.
You're insane.
Watch.
Final like point we're gonna harp on each week. I'm gonna do a parlay, a 3-leg parlay. I might fool around and do some higher ones, but for right now, and for majority of the time, it's going to be a 3-leg. Um, so take this if you want. I got Dallas winning by 2 against Minnesota. So fuck you.
I think that's a fair pick.
I got Chicago winning by 2. Or no, losing by. I'm sorry, it's not winning by 2. Losing by 2. So they're going to win a match. Or win. I'm sorry, win 2 matches.
Happening.
I have Optic winning 2 matches. Sorry, the way BetUS is set up like such a weird sports book, it's hard to read. I usually use like Bovada or the Barstool Sports app. But and then my final pick of this 3-leg parlay is going to be Seattle Surge losing by 1.
Two.
Sorry, Minnesota Rocker. I thought they only had 1 game. Did they have 2?
They play Toronto as well.
Oh, gotcha. So yeah,
I
they're
mean,
gonna lose.
you're losing your parlay
winning-
against
They're
the
winning
Optic
2
Faze.
against Rocker. This is a +6. The odds are 664 +664.
Good reason because
Meaning
you're not even
you
getting
bet.
passes.
Meaning you bet. $10.
$100.
Or $100. You're getting $664 back. Which is, I'm not putting 100 on it.
I
Obviously.
think you should, man. Come on, Optic winning 2 matches against Faze, the best team in the league. Let's do it.
Faze looked rough against London. Honestly, London. They looked rough against London.
No.
Tell me they didn't.
They were getting 3.
But,
Optic's getting 3. That's my underdog pick, and I'm confident in that one.
No way. But yeah, so to end us out officially, follow our social, our only social. The grind cod is the Twitter, right, Brody?
I think so.
The grind on Spotify, the grind on Apple Music, and then our YouTube, which I don't even think has been made yet, which will be
It'll be up.
It'll be the grind or the grind podcast where you can actually see these 2 idiots' faces on. I don't know what you're listening to this on or watching this on, but YouTube will be the place. And then if you wanted to plug your guys' own Twitters, go for it.
I don't need the clout. I'm good.
What's
I'm alright.
Roger's problem? What happened to Roger? Well, Roger just started staring off into the distance.
I don't need
I'm
the
looking at
clout.
the matches.
All right, but other than that, tune in next week. We'll on our Twitter, we're gonna be like hopefully live tweeting. I tried to live tweet last week, but I was on a plane. I was in Texas. But we'll try to be live tweeting the games, and then hopefully Brody will make a graphic for our matches after Sunday to see who's in the lead. We're gonna be keeping a leaderboard, and I think I want to get a trophy, and whoever wins, I'm gonna mail it out, or if I win, I'll keep it. And get like a little thing engraved with your name or whatnot, or our name on it.
Definitely not keeping it, so better get the box ready to mail it out.
No, okay. Well, we're counting this week, so we'll have a graphic made. We're going to go off winner percentage, but if Roger keeps doing dumb shit like choose Atlanta every game, we might have to go off units won.
We might have to jump.
We might have to jump him.
Every week. Okay. The problem with it is Roger doesn't understand gambling. So he just takes money lines. I don't even think he knows what a money line is.
That's right. I don't know what any of them are.
He would have won. He went 5-0 and would have won $2 last week if he bet $10 on each. Like literally would have won dog.
$2 more than I have right now, baby.
Other than that, I unless there's anything else you want to say, I think we should close it out.
Good. I said all that needs to be said.
All right, and yeah, follow us if you have any questions or anything we want to talk about.
Hey, if you just want to
DM us.
absolutely fry these two for their awful takes all podcast.
If you want to, fry Roger for saying that COD shouldn't be played like a real sport, fry him.
I agree.
Other than that, we'll see you next week. Well, hopefully, we're posting this on Wednesdays, Thursdays. What day are we posting this on?
Probably Wednesday. If I
think this one's going up on Thursday.
Probably Thursday. Today's Wednesday,
probably Thursday morning or Wednesday night.
Eventually.
Next week we'll have a better schedule. Next week we'll have a better schedule. So,
all right.
We'll see you, boys.
See you.